Hello students. In the last lecture, we studied about the loose connective tissues and dense connective tissues. Today we will take up the rest part of the connective tissues, that is specialized connective tissues. In specialized connective tissues, I have grouped them in two categories. Number one is rigid connective tissue and second is fluid connective tissue. Why are they called rigid connective tissue? It is because their matrix is solid, rigid. And here also we will study about the two types of connective tissues, cartilage and bones. And here the matrix is liquid, fluid. So here also we will study about blood and lymph. So let's begin with the first type of specialized connective tissue. Now first question is, why are they called specialized? They are called specialized because they have got special types of cells in them which give them a characteristic feature. So let's begin with the first type, that is cartilage. Cartilage is present at various places in our body. In embryonic stages, all vertebrates have their skeleton made up of cartilage initially. Later on, that is replaced by bones. But still after birth, there are many places where we have got cartilage. Can you guess few? The most evident is our nose tip. It is made up of cartilage. Our ear pinnae, they are made up of cartilage. Our trachea, it has got rings which are made up of cartilage. Our vertebral column, these vertebrae have in between got the discs. The discs are made up of cartilage. So you can guess, these cartilages give us flexibility as well as rigidity. Now let us see the histology of cartilage. I have drawn the TS of a cartilage. You can see cartilage have got a specialized types of cells. What are they? They are chondrocytes. So the special type of cells in the cartilage are chondrocytes. These chondrocytes, they produce special types of substances called chondrin sulfate, which provides that elasticity and rigidity to the matrix. Apart from chondrin sulfate, it also has got collagen fibers which provides flexibility as well as rigidity as well as tensile strength. It gives the tensile strength to the cartilage. There is a small kind of gap, or you can say lacunae is there. In that lacunae, there may be 2 to 4 chondrocytes. These chondrocytes, they keep on, replacing the matrix and keep the cartilage in good shape. So this is about the cartilage. Now let's study this with the help of animation. So the specialized connective tissue, the first one is cartilage. As I told you, cartilages are mainly present between the bones. They prevent the friction between the bones, and they are present, these cells are called chondrocytes, cartilage cells, and they produce the chondrin sulfate which are present in cavities, which may range between 2 to 4. In the fetal stage, the skeleton is initially made up of cartilage. Later on, it is replaced mainly by bones, but still cartilages are present at certain places. So after cartilage, let's switch over to bones. After cartilage, the next specialized connective tissue is bone. Bone is so important. It is our framework of skeletal system. It provides the surface on which our muscles, skeletal muscles, are attached for the movement. It protects our internal organs. Also, the long bones have got cavity, they are hollow bones, and in the cavity there is the formation of bone marrow. These bone marrow are responsible for the production of blood cells. So, now let us study the histology of bones. So, these bones, if you take a TS of bone, you will see this type of structure. There are concentric rings, and these rings have got a central canal, and the whole system is called as Haversian canal system. And there are certain lacunae, and inside these lacunae are present the bone cells. The bone cells are called osteocytes or osteoblast. Initially inactive are called osteocytes, and when they become active they are called osteoblast. You can see I have drawn an osteoblast. Osteoblast is a star-shaped structure which is responsible for the production of proteins and certain calcium salts which are responsible for making the bone matrix very rigid. So, these osteoblasts, they produce the fibers which are collagen fibers, and there are small, you can say, pore-like structures throughout, because our bone is a porous structure. It's not a rigid structure. So, bones are so important. So, second type of connective tissue is bones. Let's see with the help of animals. So, you can see that 90% of our skeletal system is made up of bones. Bones are providing the framework of our body. These bones, as I mentioned, they are made up of concentric rings of Haversian canal system. The matrix is rigid because the osteocytes, which are bone cells, they produce the matrix which is having calcium salts and collagen fibers. These bones, what are the functions? The functions are, they are providing the framework of our body. They provide surfaces for the attachment of these skeletal muscles. Because of them only we are able to show the movements, voluntary movements, and the internal part of the long bones is having bone marrow which is responsible for the formation of blood. After bones, now we will study the liquid connective tissue, that is fluid connective tissue. In fluid connective tissue, we will study about blood and lymph. Blood and lymph are more or less same because lymph is a byproduct of blood only. So let's focus on blood first. Blood is a liquid connective tissue. The matrix is called as plasma, which constitutes 55% of complete blood. This plasma is mainly water. 90 to 92% is water. Around 6 to 8% it has got different types of proteins, which may be immunoglobulins, fibrinogens, or albumins. These proteins are basically responsible for osmolarity, to maintain the osmosis in the blood. Apart from these proteins, it has got other soluble substances like glucose, urea, so many other salts in both cationic as well as anionic form, like sodium ions, potassium ions, magnesium ions, bicarbonates, chloride ions. So these are basically responsible for maintaining the different structure of different composition of the blood. Do you know what is the pH of blood? The pH of blood is 7.4. So it is slightly alkaline. So this all transportation is done through plasma only. Plasma is responsible for the transportation of the different hormones, different nutrients, even the excretory byproducts. Okay. Now let us switch over to the next solid part of the blood, which is known as formed elements. There are three main types of formed elements. These are erythrocytes, leukocytes and platelets. Erythrocytes are called RBC. What is the full form of RBC? Yes, it is red blood corpuscles. Erythrocytes count is highest. It is about 5 to 5.5 million per cc. That is, in 1 ml of blood, there are about 5 to 5.5 million RBCs. They are biconcave in shape and they carry a very important pigment that is called hemoglobin. What is the percentage of hemoglobin in our body? Yes, the average hemoglobin percentage ranges between 12 to 16 grams per 100 ml of our blood. This hemoglobin is responsible for the transportation of oxygen and carbon dioxide. Then next formed elements are leukocytes. Leukocytes are about 6,000 to 8,000 per cc. Their count is differential. That is, their percentage. This is the percentage of this amount. There are two terms, TLC, total leukocyte count. This is total leukocyte count. Then we also study DLC, differential leukocyte count. I have mentioned the percentage. Like if you talk about the differential percentage of different components of leukocytes, let's see. Leukocytes are of different types. You can categorize them into granulocytes and agranulocytes. Why are they called granulocytes? Because in their cytoplasm there are certain granules present. That's why they are called granulocytes. Whereas agranulocytes, they do not have any granules in their cytoplasm. Now this granulocytes are of three types. First one is eosinophils or acidophils. Their percentage is 2 to 3%. They are responsible for detecting the infections in the blood. So their percentage increase means increase in infection in the blood. Next are basophils. They are mainly phagocytic. Their percentage, they are not phagocytic. They are basically responsible for allergic responses. So their percentage is only 0.5%. And the third types are neutrophils. They are phagocytic in nature and their percentage is about 60 to 65%. Can you see the change in their structure? This red color is their nucleus. Just by nucleus, we can make out which type of granulocyte is there. Eosinophil, bilobed nucleus is there. Basophil, S-shaped nucleus is there. And neutrophils, multi-lobed nucleus is there. So these all are basically responsible for various purposes of our defense system. Then there are agranulocytes. In agranulocytes, we have lymphocytes and monocytes. Lymphocytes, they constitute about 25 to 30%. They are our third line of defense. They are the ultimate defense because they are responsible for the production of antibodies which are specific for a particular pathogen. You can see their nucleus is round. Whereas this monocyte is also phagocytic in nature. The percentage ranges between 6 to 8%. And the nucleus is very large and reniform, that is kidney shape. So you can see these leukocytes are our defense system. They protect us either by detecting the infections, as in case of eosinophil, or making our body sensitive for allergens by basophil and neutrophils, which are our main phagocytes. Also, lymphocytes, which produce antibodies, they provide immunity to our body, and monocytes, again, they are phagocytic in nature. Now, the last part of the blood are the platelets. Platelets are actually thrombocytes. These thrombocytes later on develop into particle-like structures called platelets. These platelets have got certain enzymes, that is thrombokinase, which are responsible for the production of blood clotting in our body. Their count ranges between 1,50,000 to 3,50,000 per cc. Okay, so these platelets are very helpful because whenever we are injured, there is the loss of blood. Immediately within 3 minutes, these platelets, when they are broken, they pour the secretions, that is the enzymes, and initiate the process of blood clotting. So after platelets, the next type of fluid connective tissue is lymph. Lymph is just like the blood because it is a processed blood. It is also called as interstitial fluid. It is a leaked out blood actually. So the plasma is almost like the plasma of blood, but it is not as rich as of blood. The plasma is mainly water, and there are certain immunoglobulins, there are certain proteins, other proteins, but there are no fibrinogens because that's why it is not showing the blood clotting. Also, there are special types of cells in it. They are called lymphocytes. That's why it is called lymph because of the presence of lymphocytes. So with this, we have completed the third type of connective tissue, that is specialized connective tissue. Now let's see the animation of blood. So the last type of the specialized connective tissue, that is blood. It is formed from the bone marrow, which is present in our bones, which is responsible for forming different types of formed elements. The liquid matrix of the blood is called as plasma, and it has got different types of cells like red blood cells, white blood cells, and platelets. So this is all about the connective tissues.